I don't care if one person watches it or 100 people watch it, truly. Everybody's out of their comfort zone a little bit right now. Everybody's world has been turned upside down. What is your awareness like? Are you realizing, hey, you know what? I'm not in a good space right now, and I recognize that.
What is driving you to want to do that? What's going on, you guys? Lyndsey Fry here, and welcome to another episode of the Mental Performance Loop. But the first thing I want to talk about, especially in light of all of this craziness with coronavirus, because it is craziness. I went to the grocery store today and there was nothing there for me to buy, really. And so I just want to talk a little bit about controlling the controllables, because there is a lot going on right now that feels very much out of our control, and frankly it is. So I think we need to just focus on what we can control. You know, a lot of people think that they can control the outcome, and they obsess over controlling the outcome. You really, at the end of the day, can't control this whole coronavirus thing. You can't totally control whether or not you get it. As crazy as it sounds, I mean, you have no idea what's going on. What if somebody touched the handle of your car when you didn't realize it? I mean, there's just so many unknowns with this that you have no idea whether or not you're going to get it. However, what you can control is your response. So there's this crazy event going on right now, which is this pandemic and everything breaking out and all of the crazy news and coverage around it. And then ultimately there's the outcome, whether you're going to get it or not. And in between there is your response and what you're going to do given the events that are going on. So I think the big thing is just focus on that. Don't get so caught up in all the craziness of what's going on in the media, in the hockey world, everything getting canceled. Try not to think about that. Think about what are you going to do to make sure that you're influencing the outcome in the best way possible. I'll be completely honest. We are looking at our wedding, which is supposed to be here in a month, and trying to figure out, is this going to be the best situation for our grandparents to be in? Are our friends from out of town going to be able to travel in a month? There's just so many unknowns, and so we're just trying to do everything we can to be proactive and trying to make sure that our response is, the best it can possibly be to give us the best outcome that we can possibly get. So just want you to think about that. Make sure your mind is right in this crazy time and control what you can, work on that response, and do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're in the best situation you can possibly be in. One of the things I really wanted to talk today about was motivation and commitment. They're a little bit different. Motivation is ultimately what gets you going, and commitment is what keeps you going. Now, the thing that's similar about both of them is that those are daily decisions. A lot of people, they'll go on their Instagram or their Facebook and they'll see this really awesome motivational video. They'll watch it, they'll feel all amped up, ready to go, and they go and run 4 miles, or they go and, if you're a hockey player, go outside and stick handle for a couple minutes or even an hour. And then the next day, they wake up and they don't do that again. And it's because that motivation was super temporary. So when we think about motivation and commitment, what gets us going each and every day and what keeps us going each and every day, the key there is that in order to ultimately be effective with that, they have to be daily decisions. Every single day you have to wake up, you have to find your motivation, and you have to find that commitment. And so one of the ways that makes that easier, that creates less of a barrier for us to be able to do that, is by understanding our why. And this is something that I'm super, super passionate about. I think no matter what it is that you're doing in life, this can be your job, your sport, your family, all decisions that we make, it's much easier to be consistent with the things that we're doing if we understand our why. And so what I want to challenge you to do today is really think about whether, you're a parent watching this, whether you're a player of a different sport watching this, or whatever it is. I want you to really think about, if you've got a goal in your mind right now, I want you to think about why you have that goal. What is driving you to want to do that? Because if you don't have that, then it's just something floating around in space, and it's going to be really hard for you to actually execute on that day in and day out. So for example, my freshman and sophomore year of college, I was, I want to be an Olympian. Of course I want to be an Olympian. Everybody wants to be an Olympian. But I wasn't making daily decisions that aligned with that. And it's because I didn't have a good understanding of what my why was. It really, truly, it was, I want to be an Olympian just because that's what everybody else is supposed to do or wants to do in the women's hockey world. Well, that's not a strong enough why, because that doesn't really mean anything to me. That doesn't resonate with me. And so it wasn't really until I said to myself, my why is that I want to do this for the state of Arizona, and I want to do it for my family, to be able to give back to everything that they did for me. And so once I had that, it was a much more deep personal meaning for it, and I had a better understanding of what my why was. I was able to go day in and day out and train and do what I needed to do to get there, and that generated the motivation and the commitment day in and day out for me to be able to be consistent. So really think about that. Whatever it is that, you say you have this goal and then you're struggling to stick with it every day, really dive into why it is that you want that goal. Maybe it's not the right goal for you, truly. If you don't have a strong enough why, then maybe it's not the right goal. Maybe there's something else that you should be working toward, and that's totally fine. But I want you to really dig in, think about what is your why? Why is it that you want to work so hard towards something? And that why is going to help you find that motivation and commitment day in and day out so you can be successful in reaching that goal.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about two concepts. One, focus, and two, awareness. And these are both super important when we're trying to accomplish anything, so that we can stay on task and get done what we need to get done to get where we're ultimately trying to go. And so it's kind of crazy, but with all of this coronavirus stuff, a bunch of adults are home, whether you're a parent or not. A lot of people are home telecommuting because offices are shut down and they're working from their computers at home. A lot of college students are now finishing up their school year online. And it looks like a lot of elementary, middle, and high school students may be doing the same. If not, they're still on break for another couple weeks. So what can we all do? And that is practice, focus, and awareness. So I actually want to talk about awareness first. Everybody's out of their comfort zone a little bit right now. Everybody's world has been turned upside down. Routines and habits are being kind of pushed out, and we're having to readjust to everything that's going on. And that creates a lot of potential frustration. I have definitely had it a little bit. I'm sure everybody else has. There's a lot of different things going on. So when we think about awareness, it's really just being able to take a second to recognize, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. And being able to recognize in the moment that something's going on that maybe isn't exactly how you want to feel or how you want to act, and taking a minute to kind of bring yourself back to where you want to be. So what I want you to focus on here with the awareness piece is I want you to take a second. Anytime you notice that you're starting to get frustrated or flustered by something, I want you to recognize it, have that awareness, and then I want you to take a second and just be thankful for everything that's going on. There are a lot of good things happening, opportunities to be with family, opportunities to have some extra time in your day because you don't have to commute to work. There's a lot of different things going on, and just keep in mind that when you have those moments, when you become aware of the things that are frustrating you or making you feel upset, I want you to really take a second to be thankful and also recognize what we talked about the other day, which is we cannot control our circumstances. We can only control our response. So first thing, really be mindful, think about that awareness piece. Second thing is focus. So a lot of people finishing out schooling online or trying to find activities to do at home or working from home if you're an adult. It's a really, really awesome time to practice focus. And what I mean by that is when you're at home, there's naturally going to be some additional distractions, especially when, if you're in a family, everybody's at home at once doing their own thing, and everybody's trying to do their norm where they're either at school or at an office and cohabitate and make it all happen at the same time. But just like whether you're an athlete thinking about being in a big game, when you're in a championship game, there's a lot of distractions going on, more so than a normal game or even a practice. You've got fans cheering or screaming in the stands. You've got announcers. You've got coaches in your ear talking about stuff. There's more fans than you're used to, so there's a lot of visual stimulation. And whether you're an athlete or not, there are always going to be big moments. If you're an adult in the professional world, you're in a boardroom. It's very different than presenting to one of your coworkers over a cup of coffee. So this is an opportunity to really practice how to focus when you're in an environment full of distractions. So a couple things that you can do, whether you're a student or working a job, I want you to take just a couple minutes each day. And I want you, if you're not comfortable with this, like if this isn't your normal, I want you to turn the TV on pretty loudly on something that you're actually interested in. And I want you to try to tune it out and focus on some sort of work or homework or whatever it is with that playing in the background. What this is going to do is it's going to force you to really block out the noise and focus in on the task at hand, just like we need to be able to do in a lot of different aspects of life, whether it's in school, our jobs, or out on the field or on the ice, wherever it is. So I want you to practice this. If you lose focus, that's totally fine. No judgment of yourself or anyone else. But if you lose focus, I want you to just take a second, recognize that you lost your focus, and take a big breath, and then try again. Do this for 5-10 minutes a day for the next however many days or weeks that everybody's in this situation where we're at home, and use this as an opportunity to get better. So, and super excited to be outside right now. This quarantine obviously makes everybody go a little stir crazy in their homes, but it's beautiful out. So if you hear some birds chirping or my dog going in and out of his doggy door, don't mind that. It's just I couldn't resist coming out here this morning. So we're going to build off of what we were talking about yesterday, which was focus and awareness. And we talked a lot about just potential frustrations people are feeling being out of their comfort zones, having to work from home, kids are at home rather than at school. And what we want to talk about today and what I want to build on is really talking more about self-control, because sometimes we get these emotions and we don't necessarily know what to do with them, but we're going to talk about a really practical strategy as to how we can have self-control and get back to where we want to be. So this is called the recognize, release, and refocus routine. So when you start to feel yourself, when you have the awareness, like we talked about yesterday, that you're not feeling kind of how you want to be feeling, or you're not in the positive mood that you want to be in, or your actions aren't aligning with what you want in the moment. As soon as you become aware of that, okay, you're going to go into that recognize phase. I want you to recognize, what's your body language like? Are you getting frustrated? Are you tensing up? What is your awareness like? Are you realizing, hey, you know what? I'm not in a good space right now, and I recognize that. What's your self-talk like? Are you getting frustrated? Are you internally yelling at yourself or at your kids? So first step, recognize that. Second thing is now we need to actually do something about it, because we have to get ourselves back to where we want to be. So the only way to do that is to let it go. And so we need to release all of that. So the steps that I want you to go through, okay, one, you have to do something physical, right? It can be anything. So let's just say your physical release is, all right, I'm going to touch my heart to help me remember why I'm thankful for this moment and thankful for everything going on in life, even though things are a little out of my control right now. So first thing, find some sort of physical action to do during your release routine. Second thing is take a deep breath and try to have a focal point. So if you are doing the hands over the heart, take a look down, big deep breath, looking at that focal point. Then the last thing is having some sort of verbal trigger, something that you're going to tell yourself. So that can be, all right, Lynds, I got this. That can be, I am so thankful for everything in my life. It can be anything you want it to be. So step one, physical. Step two, big breath. on a focal point. And step 3, have some sort of verbal trigger. And then once you get through that release, you're probably already feeling better. So now it's time to refocus. Now it's time to get back to whatever it is that was frustrating us so that we can accomplish that task. And so you're going to do one more big breath, and I want you to have some sort of final thought, feeling, or vision. So maybe that is you close your eyes, you take your big breath, and you have a vision of summer and everybody being outside, and you're at the lake with your friends because this crazy quarantine time has passed. Some sort of lasting thought, feeling, or vision. So step 1, release, or step 1, recognize. Step 2, release. Step 3, refocus. Please comment below. Let me know what your routine looks like, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. But before I start, I want to actually bring some context to these different things. I've been talking a lot, obviously, about coronavirus and things in that context, and I'll do that a little bit more today just because it's relevant. But if there's anything that you have struggled with, whether it be in life or in your athletic career or something that your kid usually struggles with during games, please comment below and let me know what you want to talk about, because everything that we do on this throughout, however long this show goes on for, everything we do is best learned through context. And odds are that a problem that either you've faced or your kid has faced or whoever has faced, somebody else is dealing with that and is wondering the same thing. So please comment below. Let me know what you want to talk about, and we will definitely integrate that moving forward. But today I want to take a step back, just be super simple, and I want to talk a little bit about time. I think in our culture, everything is moving so fast-paced. Everybody's so busy, and busyness is almost like a status in our American culture. And not making a judgment about whether or not that's good or bad. I think I'm fairly busy. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think I'm better than anybody who's less busy. But I think we're constantly moving just so quickly, and we often say things like, man, if I just had time, I would do this. Or, man, if I had more time, I would spend more time with my grandparents. I would spend more time with my kids. I would go on more vacations. Now, obviously, given the circumstances right now, we can't do everything that we want to do, or that we always say, if I had more time, I would do X, right? But we can figure out what are those things that we can do now as we have more time, as we, within the constraints of being in our homes or in somewhat isolated areas, and figure out what those are and start listing them out and use this as an opportunity to actually execute on those things. For me, it was starting to record music again. I haven't done that in probably 10 years almost. And it felt awesome. It felt like such a great accomplishment, because it's something that I've been saying for so long I want to get back into, and I just haven't made the time for it yet. And so when you're sitting around and you're bored, or you're looking at your kids and trying to figure out what you guys can do, bring back board game night that you did when the kids were younger, and something that you've missed deep down. Really take a moment to reflect. What are those things that I wish I had more time for? And use this as an opportunity to actually get those things done. And the mental release that you will feel from that is going to be incredible. I'm feeling it. Even just doing these videos now. This is something I've wanted to do for such a long time. Never made the time to do it. Now I have some time back in my days. I'm going for it. Why not? Right? And I love it. I don't care if one person watches it or 100 people watch it. Truly. I think this is super fun. I love coaching. I love talking about the mental game, because it was such an important part of my athletic career, and I think such an important part to a lot of people's athletic careers, and I just want to share what I can and provide value, even if it's only to one person. So figure out what are those things, really ask yourself, what do I always say I don't have time for, and get after it, try to get it done, and let me know how you feel. Thanks, guys.